Welcome to the Programmatic Digest podcast, a weekly roundup of top programmatic news with fellow programmatic ninjas. I'm your host, Ellen Parker, your very own programmatic Sensei. Thank you for joining us today. Before we get into today's conversation, subscribe, like, and share. Leave us a comment if you need any more details. Visit our website, programmaticdigest.com, programmaticdigest.com, where you'll be prompted for our new weekly or monthly newsletter. It only alerts you when there's a new episode live. So thank you so much for all your support and love, and remember to be curious. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the Sensei's Corner, Vera. How are you doing today?
I am great, Helen. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I am. We are really excited to talk to you today because we are going to talk about CDPs and potentially multi-location advertising, utilizing programmatic media. But before we get into today's conversation, can you please introduce yourself to our audiences and let us know maybe a little bit of your background, how you came about to being Senior Director of Digital Strategy at Location 3, and all of the good gems?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've actually been at Location 3 about 5 months, so I'm pretty new to the company.
Okay.
Super excited to be part of the team. We are a digital agency that specializes in enterprise strategy with a local activation. So we very much focus on local businesses, franchises, multi-unit businesses, and we really help them to understand how to kind of set their strategy out on a local level, because it's very different when you're doing that. I've been in digital many, many years. I started out actually not in digital, started out trying to originally be a journalist. And then from there I moved on into programming. I was really techie and geeky, and I still love technology. And so that was where I started out my career, but I fell into marketing like a lot of us did. Really just got into marketing by developing websites.
Oh, no.
Got really interested in Flash websites, then that was back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you're old enough to remember Flash websites. But then moved into WordPress, and then kind of started my own boutique agency for a while, and worked with very niche businesses, local photographers, local businesses, just restaurants, lawyers, doctors, things like that. And then decided I wanted to go back into corporate, work for, bigger companies and things like that. So I've been, worked with franchise corporations as well as agencies, but I love agency life.
That's really great, because my background is 100% agency. And I've always told myself, I have a consulting firm as well, and I provide customizable training to small, medium-sized agencies, digital marketers that are trying to maybe become better at programmatic media, or start offering programmatic media, or have been accidentally doing programmatic but don't know, just doing guess and hope marketing at this point. So I just help, and we come up with like a 4 to 6 month program. And it's very low key, like it's very intense, of course, because there's a lot of information. It's just like if you start a course. And we've been having a lot of fun. But I've always told myself that if I had to go back into the workforce, it would be on an ad tech level, because I've never worked for like an ad tech, and I've always been very passionate about programmatic DSPs and all that jazz. So who knows? We'll see. I mean, so far everything is great, and actually leads into today's conversation about. I think we're going to talk about CDPs. And before we started recording, I confessed that I did not know anything about CDPs. And usually when I have a guest on the podcast and I don't know a lot about the topics, it's going to be fire. We're going to have a lot of fun. So for those listening, thank you for bearing with me. But talk to us about CDPs. First of all, what is it? I know it stands for Customer Data
Platform. Yep.
Platform. Got it. So let's talk about CDPs a little bit. What is it? And why is it important for us to know about them, or maybe to start using them or partnering with them? So
yeah, absolutely. So CDP is something that I'm really excited about. I'm super passionate about this technology. It's pretty new. I mean, it's been out for a while, but really mostly large enterprise companies have been leveraging it. And it's really something that kind of goes beyond the level of a CRM. So a lot of people ask me, well, isn't it just a fancy CRM? It's not that, because what it actually does is it takes a business's data, and it takes anonymous data as well as known data, and that's customer data, and it unifies it into one big kind of single view of your customer. And it pulls the data, ingests data from several sources. So, like most businesses, our data doesn't sit in a single place, right? It sits in CRM, it sits in point of sale system, it sits in data lakes. So we have disparate data sitting in all different places. And as a company, we find it really hard to bring that data into one place and create a unified view of who our customers are, right? So what CDP does is it sucks that data in, consolidates it, and allows us to really understand our customers on an individual level.
Okay.
And then the next step of CDP is it allows us to be able to segment that data and use it for marketing purposes. So whereas CRM was originally, I guess, more of a sales tool, right? So a tool where we can get our leads and do lead scoring and enable our sales team to actually make better sales. CDP is more of a marketer's tool, and at the end of the day, will help marketers to make, to really make their marketing campaigns much more dynamic and real time.
So do you need a CRM in order to create a CDP?
Great question. You do not necessarily, but it's probably a good idea that if you have a CRM, you would also have a CDP and have them work side by side. You would pull the data out of the CRM and would be able to really empower the marketer to use that data in a much more meaningful way.
Okay. So you could use your current CRM and import into a CDP, but you can't use CDP and move that into a CRM.
Yeah, absolutely. So what CDP is more like the center of the hub of the wheel, and the spokes would be the data from which it pulls, the data sources from which it pulls. And then at that point, if it's a smart CDP, which I recommend if any business is looking into it, to look for one that really does have the ability to not only suck in the data, but to segment it, to do predictive analytics on it, and then to be able to even speak to ad tech platforms, so Facebook, programmatic platforms, Google, and be able to help you run your campaigns in a much more holistic way using that single view of the customer.
Okay. So now let me ask you this. What would be the difference between CDP and a DMP? Because that's how I understood data management platform.
Right. So a data management platform is not necessarily working with your first party data, right? Is that how you does that mesh with your understanding of it?
Yeah, so I can upload my CRM data into a DMP, or I can use first-party data based on like an app traffic, website traffic into my DMP, and then segment and work with that audience, those audience profile segments in the DMP, and then shoot it out to a DSP or an ad tech that I'm using.
Right. So I think the difference is that CDP is more first-party data oriented. So you're taking your business data. You're not relying on any third-party data per se. You're using what your business has in its CRM as known customers, as well as anonymous prospects or consumers that have visited your site, or that you have potentially some not necessarily known data about, but you're doing probabilistic matching, right, rather than deterministic matching. And you're able to then use that first-party data to kind of spin off marketing campaigns, spin off lookalike audiences, and really do this kind of powerful marketing, which is real time based on what that customer has done already. So I'll give you an example. Say, for example, the typical story about the customer who has been served an ad showing them a pair of red shoes, right? And it's following them around the web, right? You're being retargeted and it keeps showing these red shoes and saying, hey, buy these red shoes.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times that customer may go ahead and purchase the shoes, but our systems might not be smart enough to kind of detect that in real time, or, the data they may purchase the shoes on a mobile phone, right? Not on the desktop. So the cross-device kind of interaction isn't there. And our system doesn't trigger that this person's already bought the shoes, and we keep showing them that ad and get really annoyed, right? So the way CDP can help with this is the minute they buy that shoe, it triggers into the CDP and actually updates the fact that this person has now purchased the shoe. So let's not show them the ad for the shoe anymore. Let's show them the ad for the matching dress, for example. So it's more of a real-time kind of experience, and the guesswork is removed from it.
Gotcha. Yeah. It looks like a CDP sounds a little bit like a good migration or like a merge between a DSP and a DMP at this point. So like you can manage your audience or your data within the CDP more intelligently and make the buy as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can certainly look at it that way. There are several features of a CDP that kind of differentiate it from, a DMP, a CRM, and, a DSP, which is more of, the demand side platform, which is, serving the ads, as it were.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really a tool for businesses to make sense of their data, right, and close that data decision gap. So right now, we all have tons of data as businesses. Data is available to us in plethora, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the problem that companies face today is what to do with that data. There's a gap there between having this data that's pretty much gone to sleep, right? And CDP will wake that data up and actually put it to good use. And it's, data that pertains to your first party audience, right? Mm-hmm. People that have actually come to your website, visited your app, signed up as a lead in your system. But what you're able to now do is kind of amplify that data and enrich that data. Gotcha. So building on a customer profile, the information that you have on a customer may be very basic, but as things happen and things change, they make purchases or they show preferences. Yeah. That profile becomes richer and richer and richer.
Yeah. So I came across this blog. It's called 10 Ways CDP Solves Marketing Challenges, and it's by you. And this everything we talked today, of course, as a friendly and gentle reminder to our listeners, would be in the show notes or on the website programmaticdigest.com. But you said that the CDP, Customer Data Platform, is a 1.5 plus billion MarTech industry that can solve a plethora of marketing problems. But and then you cite about 10 ways to solve marketing challenges, but also 10 ways of what good CDP can do for you or your business or you or your clients or your brand. And I want to highlight the fact that you also said that it does not rely on third-party cookies. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that? Because I think it's important for everyone listening and then everyone in the industry to always start, if you haven't yet, start thinking about other ways to reach our customers with relevant messaging without using third-party cookies. So can you elaborate here a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, as we were discussing, I think the main difference between a DMP and a CDP is that, the data in the CDP is all internally owned. Mm-hmm. As they said, it's owned by the business. So we don't rely on third-party sources. Mm-hmm. And what that's allowing us to do is to, build up these profiles and then use that data to drive our advertising efforts. Now, of course, we can still create lookalike audiences and things like that. Now, it will become harder to do, as we all know, once we lose the third party becomes deprecated. Mm-hmm. But I think the reason I'm so excited about CDP is the fact that first party data is going to be the thing, third party data in the way with all the privacy changes. And, it's already started happening. We all know that Firefox and Safari no longer use third party cookies.
Yeah.
So it's not something that we can really just sit tight and rest on our laurels. Oh, we have till 20.
Yeah, let's just figure it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out then. It's something that I think, companies should be looking at now and on it, because once you get this going, your data is going to become richer and richer as it goes. And you're going to be able to leverage that first party data in a much more effective way without having to rely on disparate tools like, your MarTech stack could just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And these are all getting more kind of broken and fragmented, whereas CDP brings it all together into this one platform.
Gotcha. And so this is great. This is really interesting, actually, because I had no idea. So for an agency owner that's listening, or a director of operation that's listening, what would be the best way for them to decide, oh, let's go ahead and talk about, let's look into CDPs. Where should they start? What are some examples of CDPs? Because I honestly don't know who out there is a CDP. So is Location 3 working with a CDP? Are you working with CDP right now? So what can you what can you tell us in terms of this is how you want to start? These are the CDPs that are leading in the industry based on your professional experience and so forth.
Yeah. So in answer to your question about Location 3, we have kind of sourced and researched several companies that offer the service.
Yeah.
That's probably more than 150 companies who are CDPs. The question as a business is really, does the CDP solution solve my problems and solve the things that I'm trying to solve for in terms of my marketing, my data, consent management, and all of that good stuff. What we've seen and identified as some key CDP platforms that we refer to as Smart Hub CDPs. These are CDPs that check all the boxes in terms of not only unifying the data, not only being able to provide segmentation, orchestration of campaigns, delivery, but also provide some kind of machine learning predictive capabilities that we're able to, advise our clients that, okay, this platform does everything that we would want it to do. It's not a portion of a CDP. It's not like a semi CDP. It does everything. Some of the companies that we've identified, I'll say some of the names, right? Action IQ is a company that does what we would refer to as a smart CDP. Blueven, Redpoint Global, these are just names. Lytics, Treasure Data, BlueConic, and then probably Segment is the one. You probably heard of Segment. If you do a Google search for CDP, Segment will be the first thing that shows up.
Okay. We'll make sure to list all of that as well. So, okay, so you've been using CDPs for a while now. I can tell that you're obviously very satisfied with the results. So walk us through maybe a case studies or a situation or maybe a scenario when where that the CDP came through for one of your clients or for even your company, for the agency you're working for. And I'm asking that because we love case studies, we love stats here. I don't know if you can tell, but we're really data driven. So I figured I wanted to ask almost like a real life experience that you are okay sharing with us.
Yeah. So, in terms of kind of working with partners and companies to implement CDP, what we found is that it's allowed our clients to increase their operational efficiency, right? What it does is it'll end up saving time and money on, hiring. The work that's involved on the IT side, right, is severely decreased because it's a project that can be implemented pretty easily. I would say within 8 weeks, you can get a CDP up and running.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously the IT team will be involved, but it's really a joint effort between IT, marketing, and actually other business areas that are interested in data. So any of the business areas in your organization that need to access data very easily, need to be able to kind of quickly jump in and be able to pull real-time data on the customer, right, is where it's been able to help. Now, I would say first and foremost, it's going to help the marketing team. So what we've been able to do is help our clients to increase their revenue generation through these platforms.
Yeah.
And really that's because it speeds up campaign activation, right? So when you're using a CDP, you don't have to wait for, a team to put together a list of customers segmented out by, okay, who purchased the most, who had the highest average order value, for example, or, send me the list of customers that were most recently purchased X product. And then you're waiting for that data to get to you. It's an instantaneous access to the data. And the fact that our customers are able to then take that data and use it to personalize their campaigns, right, saves them money and increases revenue generation, because now they're optimizing on revenue-based metrics such as average order value, customer lifetime value, customer acquisition costs. So because we have this data at our fingertips, we're now able to run much more efficient campaigns.
Okay.
And we're able to actually reduce media spend, because what clients are, what we're now being able to see is that our retargeting lists are more fine-tuned. We're not wasting money on showing people our messaging that really are not in our target audience, because we have a much more kind of honed in list and a much more honed in set of data. We're able to exclude audiences much more easily because we have it again at our fingertips. We're not waiting for, okay, send me the latest list here, I need to exclude it. And we just have that customer intelligence there. So these are some of the ways that we are able to help our clients to really kind of improve their current operations. And then, as I keep mentioning, this allows us to more strategically use our first party data. So building upon our customer prospect profiles and adding new attributes to those as they happen, we're able to really kind of expand upon what we currently know about our customers. And then our lookalike audiences also become that much better.
Welcome to the Programmatic Meetup. Yay! I'm so excited about this community that we're building. It's going to be a safe space for media buyers, ad ops, programmatic ninjas, data analysts like you and I, just to come up and talk about our day-to-day challenges in our direct roles, some of our wins, and some of our opportunities to grow, to educate ourselves. Some of the topic of discussion includes anything from optimization, best practice, QA, templating, workflow, operational workflow. I'll have guest appearance. I'm bringing my network to you, and the best part of it is that you'll have one-on-one questions with them. Oh, so excited about this, yo. I'm so hyped. So what to expect in your membership, right? You can expect 1 hour call every first and third Wednesday of the month. Access to all the recordings for the paid members within our community. Discounted one-on-one consulting with me and some of the guests that will be gracing us with their presence and their appearance. Customizable trainings, but most importantly, new best friends, y'all. I'm very excited about this opportunity. This is a community for you and I. This is a community for us to just join forces and really share, just being able to be together in a community. There's so much growth when you're in a community, when you're able to relate to people, or somebody understands where you're coming from different perspective, right? So join today. Programmatic Meetup community is open to you. Bring your friends, Tell your friends to bring his friends, to bring her friends and his friends to meet up with us. We respect you. We love you. We appreciate you. We're ready to support you. So make sure you join the Programmatic Meetup. Thank you. I'm so excited about this. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very excited about it. So thank you so much and see you soon. Okay, so this is actually really cool because Location 3 is an agency, right?
Yes, we're an agency.
You have that as an agency and you're utilizing it for your client use and your own use.
Well, so we're currently in the early stages, right?
Oh, nice. Okay.
We're in the
So that means you'll be back in a few months to let us know how it went.
Absolutely.
Noted.
I'll be back. We're in the early stages.
Okay.
So this is something that, as I said, it's been out for a few years, but not, it's not something that's been kind of democratized across all businesses. I mean, people are just now, our clients are just now starting to show interest. And, some of our clients actually have a CDP in place that they've worked with. But we're to the point where we're excited about this and we really see the possibilities of how this is going to be marketing.
Yeah. It sounds really great because I remember a few years back. Of course, LiveRamp has been around for a very long time and it's a DMP amongst other things. But I remember when LiveRamp was first integrated with the Trade Desk. At that time, I was a trader and I was using the Trade Desk. And actually, I wasn't a trader, I was a planner at that time. So media strategy and media planning was what I was doing. And I remember being trained for how to use LiveRamp, how to upload the data, the minimums required, what does that mean for a campaign, how to implement in your strategy. It was really cool, but it took a while for us to sell it to a client because it meant that they needed to release either that CRM data or we needed to, release that first party, that website traffic. And some of the clients that we were working on at that time were smaller businesses, like local businesses. So they didn't have the 1 million impression a month, right?
Yeah.
So it did take a while, maybe a few months before we were ready to test internally. And let me tell you, it was like a big celebration in the agency because we got to test the first client in LiveRamp. And again, that was like years ago. I don't know, 2016. I don't know.
Wow.
2015, maybe. I can't remember. So I remember it being really like, yo, why wouldn't you want to use this? This is great for your client, for your strategy. It makes us like much more niched in our targeting, which means that it will be much more affecting on your cost and your return of investment. But anyway, I digress. So I understand why it's still early stage and people like myself don't know anything about CDPs, which we should utilize, that is. So I think it's a really, really cool tool to have. And actually in episode, I'm going to say 51 of this podcast, we had a guest from Central. Her name is Noor Nasir, and she came on talking about automation and how you, as an agency, as a brand, as in any type of company, you need to have a certain level of automation internally to make your people more productive and more efficient in how they're doing their day-to-day. Yeah, I'm a trader and I'm able to pull I'm not now, but yeah, I might be a buyer and I'm able to pull data from the DSP or maybe from the CDP and analyze. But ultimately, what can make this process more on an automation so that I can spend less time pulling, gathering, pivoting, formulating in Excel. Instead, I can look at the overarching data coming in and then make decision that because this process is automated, I save 3 hours. Literally, it could take 3 hours for one tactic, one ad group. You save 3 hours. In those 3 hours, you can now analyze more ad groups or more tactics or more campaigns, and then pull strategy from it. Like during our training, I liked like the optimization piece of the training because there's like almost 3 phases of the program. So the fundamentals, the planning and how to sell it. And then once you sell, like how to maintain like the scaling of it, which always involve the people. Like the people are the one that's going to continue your business running. And that goes above programmatic media, of course. So during that optimization phase, this is where I sit down and look at, dive into data. Like, this is how you want to look at the data. This is how you want to pull a report pivot. This is what it's going to tell you. And every time that I go through this process, they're always like, oh, wow, I could be using that in Facebook. Yeah, of course, you could be using that in SEM, because the strategy, like the concept of it all, because you save up so much time, now you can actually look at things outside of your day-to-day, and actually, just expand on your vision.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, it's 100%. So,
yeah.
And
this is a great tool to have.
Yeah. I 100% agree that automation is an essential part of running marketing, anything, campaigns, operations, whatever. At Location 3, we have automated the ability to upload Google campaigns, Facebook campaigns. These are, we deal with thousands of locations. So one brand we work with may have thousands all over the US. And we're creating campaigns for every single one of these locations. Now, if we tried to do that manually, it would just be a nightmare.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
So the fact that we have all of this automation available allows our account managers to now think strategically, as you mentioned, and to spend more time on, okay, I don't need to worry about setting these levers, setting these campaigns up. It's that bit's done for me. I can now concentrate on the data that's flowing in through these campaigns and really just understand from a strategic point of view what I need to do. What are the next steps to get these?
Yeah, there's so much more you can be doing. I literally every morning when I wake up, I'm always like, yo, is there a better way to do this right now? Like, is there a way to automate my coffee starting so that as soon as I come downstairs, it's ready? And I just I haven't figured out a way, because I like to mix things in my coffee. Like, my coffees are like almost it's not true bulletproof, but I call it like a bulletproof coffee, because I like to add like MCT oil, like
nice.
I add like turmeric a little bit. Like, I'm really conscious about how to feed and fuel my body in the morning and during the day. So I haven't figured out that automation. So if you're listening and you have, let me know. Because I'm trying to be smart and enjoy life to the fullest. And actually, I'm realizing, like, the less I do the legwork, the more productive and the more successful I am in almost everything. Like, every time I realize that, it's taking me way too long, there has to be a way to automate. I find a way to halfway automate the process, and I gain so much more. And then I'm happier. And of course, if I'm happier, I'm more productive. I spend more time. I get results. I get things done. So I love the fact that we're having this conversation today, because it really expands above it all. Like, there are technologies out there, including CDPs, to help us automate a certain level of process. Like, are you confidently able to let us know a lifetime value of a customer?
Right.
Can you tell us? No? Okay. How can you find out? Well, I have to pull this data. Well, this tool pulls the data for you. Exactly. There is some legwork, of course, that you have to set up, right? The automation. So I do agree that sometimes it makes, you spend more time at first.
Yeah.
But if it's done right the first time, all you need to do is maintain. So
rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely appreciate the conversation. I'm looking forward for you to come back and let us know how that's going. But before we close the segment, I'd love to talk about, maybe let us know, like, close us off with like your words of wisdom. If anybody is stopping the podcast right now, what are like maybe 3 to 4 things they need to remember about CDPs, in order to select their CDPs, and how to maybe pitch it to the decision makers, or how to think about investing, or how much they should be investing at first? So what is like a 3 to 4 thing you can close them with?
Yeah, so I think the first thing would be to really pinpoint and understand as a company what your goals are from getting a CDP? What do you want the final outcome to be?
Okay.
Are you just looking to consolidate your data, or are you looking to really drive your marketing campaigns, save, money on media costs and things like that? The different questions that you need to ask your company. And I wouldn't just ask the marketing department. I think this needs to be a company-wide initiative, is to get all the major stakeholders in a room and sit down and talk about, okay, what do we want to get out of our customer data? I think that's a key thing, because once you really kind of check the boxes of what you need, you'll be able to scout out the platform that best suits your needs.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't say it better. And, you said the first thing you said is find out what exactly is the need and find out the objectives. And it's almost what I like to say about anything programmatic technology. Like if you're trying to partner with a DSP, find out first of all, why do you need it? Of course, in programmatic media, you need a DSP. But in order for you to select the right one, like how is their technology going to solve the problem you're trying to solve, but make your life easy?
Right.
Same thing with reporting. How is this tool, like this data visualization tool, able to answer the reporting challenges that you're going through? How much more investment will you have to do? So find out, like you have to have a clear vision of what's going on. And if you don't, then I would even start there. Like internally, there's maybe some therapy that needs to happen in order to really assess the problem so that you can find a solution. Right. So thank you so much for your word of wisdom. Now, before we part ways, before we close the podcast, I like to ask every guest for their like 3 fun facts about themselves. So tell us 3 fun facts about you.
3 fun facts about me. Well, I speak French and Italian.
Okay.
It's been a while, but I did get my bachelor's degree in French and Italian.
Wow.
So that's something not a lot of people know, but I do need to brush up on it. So don't try and have a conversation with me.
I'm gonna sound really ignorant, but I had no idea you can have a bachelor in like language.
Yep.
I had no idea.
And it's funny because my degree is 2 languages. So if people get confused, they say, well, wait, how you got a degree in 2 languages? But yeah, I do. So that's one fun fact about me.
Okay.
Another fun fact about me is that when I was a kid, I used to love watching the commercials more than I liked watching the TV shows themselves. That kind of shows that I was a marketer at heart, right? I used to, when the commercials came on, I used to tell everyone to shut up because I wanted to watch and listen.
Oh, no, don't tell me this, because I have a 1.5 year toddler, and she gets so lit during the commercials. And she'll most commercials have some type of music. She'll instantly run back to the TV and start dancing. Or she'll start moving her head all right, this is my jam. I know this commercial. So if you tell me that she's going to marketer.
That's funny. I think it's in her blood.
I guess so, because my mom was also in marketing. And that's one of the reasons why I always wanted to be in marketing. I remember we used to, she worked for an airline company in Senegal at that time it was called Sabina, but now it's SN Brussels Airlines. And she moved her way up, back in the days. It started like a secretary and then executive and so forth. And then she got director of marketing. And I remember her having to travel to Brussels in Belgium, because that's where it was headquartered, with big documents and having to prepare graphs. And, they killed a lot of trees back in the days because those presentations were really long and there was a lot of colors in them. I used to think yo, this is so dope. I'm going to be like my mama. Think the show Mad Men, when he was walking in with a cigarette, and she didn't smoke, but he was walking in with the big billboard to show and pitch the agency. That's how it was in the 60s or 70s. No, actually 1980s, 90s. Wow, it was early 2000. Wait a minute, because I was born already. So I think I'm at 89. So yeah, definitely in the late 90s and early 2000s. So I always knew I wanted to be in marketing because of her. And then my dad started his own company when he was in his 40s. And so in my teenage year, that was like those two individuals that influence. I think that's why I'm like, I was always looking entrepreneurs. Like I've always tried to hustle, had a side job with my job. It started with babysitting, plus I was working in a retail store. And then it was more babysitting, and then I was working in an office. And then from that office, I started freelancing for social media, like Facebook.
Yeah.
Great time. That was way back when.
That's amazing.
Nice. Yeah. So it's really interesting. Now it makes sense. It makes sense if Jade is always dancing for every commercial.
Yeah. Rubbing off on her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully she'll change the world too. Okay. So third and last fun fact.
The third, I'm trying to think of another fun fact about myself. I know there's probably some more weird and wonderful ones, but I'd say the third fun fact is I love to cook desserts. I don't like cooking most things, but desserts is my specialty.
Oh, okay.
And I'd say tiramisu is one of my most.
What?
So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, next time we're in Florida, we'll drop by. Just to say hi. And if you accidentally happen to have tiramisu there, we won't complain. It's okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll dig in a little bit there. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll take some back with us. But thank you so much for dropping by. I think this was such a really cool interview because, like I said, I was not aware of how important CDP platform was for a business, for agency, for brands. And I think that when we talk about automation, it's definitely one of the tools we can look at as a solution to some answers. And y'all, if you're not automating some of this, you got to get with it because we're spending too much time in like the non-productive and creative task. And that's not how you invent and grow. So if you have to give yourself, like your younger self or your freshman self, I like to say, when you first started in the industry, if you had to give yourself an advice, what would that be?
Oh, wow. Well, my freshman self, I'm going to date myself now. When I was a freshman, there was no Google. It exists.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I would have probably said to myself,
invest in that stock. No.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be on the cutting edge. I'll tell you a little story. Sorry, this is just kind of to extend the conversation.
No, please do. This is what makes everything, this is what brings you beauty. So go ahead.
When I was at university studying my master's, which was information technology and programming, this is before Google, right? Back in it was probably 1995, right? So there was no search engines back then. It was just about to come out. My university professor asked me to do a research study and a project, like an actual project on the programming language. I couldn't think of something. So he said, why don't you write a search engine? And I was like, what is that? And he goes, it's going to spider the web. I mean, there was a web, but there was no search.
Yeah.
He said, it's going to go and it's going to search for results based on a keyword that you type in. And it sounded like this amazing idea at the time. So that was what my research project was. It was writing a search engine. Nice. And if I had been smart, I would have developed that a little bit more. Maybe I would have been the next Google. But
yeah.
So the advice would be to my younger self, everything's possible. Don't,
limit yourself.
Don't limit yourself. Anything possible. So,
I cannot think of any other way to end this podcast. And you're actually one of the first guests to say something like anything is possible. Most of us on the podcast always agreed to have a lot of courage to ask the right questions, but also have courage to ask the dumb questions because they're only dumb if they're not asked. And to stay as curious as possible because the more curious you are, the more innovative, the more creative, the more you want to learn. But like having no limit perspective is almost like defined as an abundance mindset, which people only think of abundance mindset for like millionaires and billionaires, but it starts with like everyone knowing that you're worthy and that this idea came to you because you were meant to have this idea and you need to execute now. So thank you so much. That was like the best so far. I think like no disrespect to the other guests, but I really think that this was one of the, maybe it speaks to me now in this season more than anything else, maybe. But I thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Helen.
Thank you so much. And if anybody had to reach to you or reach out to you, how can they do that?
I'm very active on LinkedIn, so definitely hit me up on LinkedIn at Vera Shafiq. And then I also have a website, which is verashafiq.com. That's my first and last name.com. So check me out there as well.
Super. And all of her information will be in the show notes so if you're driving, running, living in Best Side, no worries. You can get back onto the website and pull it, or you can look at wherever you're streaming right now. Most likely there's some notes in the notes. You'll have your information. So thank you so much for dropping by. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your love and support. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you have any questions, feedback, or just simply want to say hi, email us at info@programmaticdigest.com. You can also visit the website, programmaticdigest.com, where we're always looking for guest hosts. We're also looking for sponsors. So hit us up if you're interested.